Welcome to the Loaded Cannon Champions League edition. But before we get into that, let's do what we do at the start of all of our videos. This one is a heartbreaking one. A 2-year-old girl, Layla Khatib, may her soul just rest in peace, because eating dinner at at home with her mum in her house. She's in her house. There's been a ceasefire. She's 2 years old, and the Israeli genocidal force, who have just got zero value or respect for Palestinian life, sprayed bullets randomly, no warning. 4 bullets went into this family's living room, and one of them that came through the window hit a 2-year-old girl in the back of the head, and she died that evening. Like, I just can't even begin to imagine how that feels for that family, to think that now there's a ceasefire, they're at home, they're trying to live normal life, and then something like that happens. It's just crazy. 2 years old, zero outcry. You probably haven't even heard of it. This is how normal it is for innocent babies to be shot in the head whilst eating. I just, when you really, really think about the words that you're saying or that you're reading, it just kills you, man. So this is why we detest Zionism. This is why we detest these extremists, these genocidal maniacs, and we just have to say free Palestine and do whatever we can until the days that we die. And now, as always, moving on from that to something that means a lot less, Arsenal. And a good win today for Arsenal. A crazy game, so much incident, and you know what? Let's talk about this new Champions League format, because the new Champions League format has delivered. For me, it's delivered in style. It's like, it reminds me of a software update on your iPhone or whatever phone you have. Sorry, Android users, whatever phone you have. And as soon as you get it, if they've changed too much, you're just like, no, I don't like it. That's the default setting. And I fell into that trap. And I remember when they announced all the changes, I was like, oh, it doesn't need changing. It's a good system. It works. And then I thought to myself, well, what's my actual problem with the change? And it was that not all teams were playing the same teams. And then I realized, actually, hold on a second, even in the group stage, it's only the teams within each group that have got consistency. Otherwise, it's just seedings that are applied, and there's loads of different groups, and each team within a different group is playing a different set of teams anyway. And I thought to myself, well, actually, yeah, it doesn't really matter that all teams will be playing different teams. It doesn't really matter that it's not perfectly home or away or whatever, because, in the group stage as well, it's not that dissimilar if you really think about it. But what I did like was that it just gives it a lot more jeopardy, and you get to this final point of the season where mini leagues with only 4 teams in them, they all get wrapped up, don't they? Really, there's not much left on the final group stage game. And today was the proof in the pudding. It was brilliant. So much riding on Man City, so much riding on Aston Villa, especially from an English perspective, but all over the place. There were only 2 games that didn't mean anything, and it really, really delivered. It was hard to keep track of. I was basically watching 3 games, but I actually think it's been a brilliant change. It's worked really, really well, and when I first thought it was going to impact the integrity of the competition, that hasn't happened. So, and now I'm really looking forward to the playoff round, because Man City versus either Bayern Munich or Real Madrid at this stage of the competition, that's insane. I'm looking forward to that big time. And I haven't even looked at the entire possibilities, but I don't know when the draw is. I'm looking forward to the draw. And I think that the change has been really, really good, and it's really refreshed the Champions League format. Now, talking about Arsenal, oh boy. I mean, there's a few players we have to talk about, Neto being one of them. And on the other end of the scale, the very, very special Neri, because we'll talk about him after. Neto, my God, he will be embarrassed. He will be embarrassed with some of the moments that are just going to be replaying in his head from this game. His first touch, we were so lucky not to concede. What was he doing? It's like, if you didn't realise, let's say, for example, you didn't check the lineup and you didn't know that David Raya wasn't playing, you would have figured that out after Neto's first touch. Absolutely awful. And then he was lucky to get away with that, but did he learn from it? No, he didn't. The goal that we conceded, what was he thinking? What makes it even worse, what I still can't get over, and you know what I'm going to say, is that even though he's out of his area, he's still trying to dive it and save it with his hand. It's just like, oh my God, what are you playing at? The worrying thing for me is that apparently David Raya is injured. That's why he wasn't playing today. Because look, we selected other big players. Gabriel was playing, Odegaard was playing. The fact that David Raya wasn't playing. Initially, I thought it might just be like a Saliba reason that we're taking him out of the team because we don't want to overplay and we don't want to risk anything. But I've heard that he's injured, so if we have to play Neto against Man City on the weekend, pray for us. Oh my God, just awful. Absolutely awful performance. And what it does show is just how good David Raya is, because he never ever does anything dumb. And I know that might sound like I'm setting a low bar, but it's really not. Goalkeepers, especially when you make a bad mistake, you really get exposed. You can't hide. And David Raya doesn't make bad mistakes. Every now and then you might say to yourself, should he have got that? But all in all, he's such a solid keeper, and this really hammers that point home. So, in a way, Neto's made a really, really sort of poor start to his Arsenal career, but he's only served to increase David Raya's stock. And now let's talk about the guy right on the other end of the spectrum, Neri. What an incredibly special talent. And once you start getting familiar with a talent like that, you do realize, man, you want them to stick around for a long time. It'd be very, very hard to see Neri go because, yeah, once you've got a talent like that on your hands, then you just want to keep him. Simple as that. His goal today, wow. And I've said it before, like, look at that goal. Look how many opposition he was up against, yeah? He was faced with so many. Did it faze him? Not one bit. Just takes it all in his stride and delivers. And what a shot. The curl on that effort, the pace that he struck it with, just not phased in the slightest. A truly, truly special player. And I just hope that I see him in the red of Arsenal for the rest of his career, because like I've said it before, and now I feel like everyone is saying it as well. He really is special. Absolutely fantastic player. And MLS as well. He's a brilliant player. So glad that his ban got overturned, because that was a crazy decision. The more you watch it, the more you realise how crazy that decision was. Glad to know that's been overturned. Now we look at Arsenal and who they've got in the next round potentially. Feyenoord, PSV, Milan or Juve. Clearly, I'd rather avoid the Italian teams. I feel like they're stronger. Give me a Feyenoord, I'll be very, very happy. So we'll see which team we end up playing. But listen, it's a good day for Arsenal into the next round of the Champions League. And Mikel Arteta and Arsenal deserve a lot of credit, because we didn't concede a single goal from open play when our keeper was actually standing in their area. That's how ridiculous the goal was that we conceded. But yeah, only one goal we've conceded in open play in all 8 of the Champions League group stage games. And I've said it before, and I'll end the video on this note. I think Arsenal's style of play, and also the style of play you come up against typically in Europe, just suits Arsenal. And I really think we can go a long way in this competition. Fingers crossed. Until next time, take care.